Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the series where we're just walking through our franchise with the Little Rock Thunderbirds. 36 games and we're starting off the 37th against the Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be a very interesting episode. We got 9 NHL teams to play against and I'm going to see if we can get at least a couple wins on this episode. It's going to be pretty difficult, but let's see what we can do against Vancouver here in Game 1. Alright, start off the game pretty strong. 4 minutes into the game, Gustav Nyquist getting his 8th on the season and first goal for us for the game, making it 1-0 in our favor, and then we're coming out swinging pretty hard. So I like that we're taking the initiative, we're trying to get it going. Let's see if we can carry that on. A couple minutes later, Vancouver with a huge hit on one of our people, and then about 20 seconds later, they follow up the momentum with a goal of their own, tying the game up. They're not going to go down without a fight. Then 20 seconds later, a big hit from us, just retaliating the hit from earlier. And then about 3 minutes later, Demko with a good save, keeping the game tied at 1-1. About 40 seconds later, another big hit for us. And then 2 minutes later after that, Demko with another good save, keeping the game where it's at. And then another few seconds later, another big hit for us. Now, skipping down to the last 5 minutes, Vancouver unfortunately gets a beautiful chance, blasting it past Bernier, making it 2-1. So they take a little bit of the momentum and end up cashing in on it. A few minutes later, we're putting the pressure on in the offensive zone, and we take a great shot that hits off the post and stays out of the net. Vancouver's going to go into the second period with a 2-1 lead, and it's been a very eventful period. Moving to the second period, a couple minutes in, Vancouver does not let up. Very aggressive offense, and they end up putting it in for another goal, making it 3-1. Taking a 2-goal lead, but the game's not over just yet. A minute and a half later, Arturo with another big hit just to, again, keep that momentum on our side. We're not giving up so easily, and it pays off nicely because about 5 minutes later, Justin Bailey with a beautiful shot, getting his 10th on the season, making it 2-3. We're only down by 1 now, and like I said, we're not going down without a fight. 4 minutes later, Vancouver with a huge hit against Patrick Parkkinen, who ends up getting injured. My dad's character ends up standing up for him, and he ends up fighting Jason Dickinson. Jason Dickinson ends up getting the advantage over my dad's creative character, knocking him down, and Parkkinen limps off to the bench. And that's pretty much it for the second period. A couple of goals on each side. Now we're heading into the third, down by 1. A couple minutes into the third period, Arturo with a big hit. And then skipping down to the last 10 minutes, Demko with another big save, keeping the game where it's at. Demko's been saving their ass, and he continues to do it throughout the game. A couple minutes later, Vancouver with a huge hit that draws a penalty for us, so we end up going on the power play. 30 seconds into the power play, Demko with a one-time penalty kill save, keeping the game where it's at. Again, he's saving these guys' ass right now. But fortunately, 6 minutes later, he cannot keep us out as Thomas Tatar, getting his 19th on the season, finally showing up, because he's been quiet for the past few games, getting the game-tying goal. 3-3, let's go. 2 minutes left. Can we push it to OT and at least secure a point? And then with 30 seconds to go in the period, big hit on Brock Besser, and we end up getting a penalty. So we're going into OT with 1 man down. Heading into OT, 1 minute in, Bernier with a big save on the penalty kill, keeping it where it's at, keeping the game going. Love to see it. And then about a few minutes later, Bernier repeating that process, followed by another save after that. 30 seconds later, just, again, it's a game of goaltending right now between Bernier and Demko. But then finally, we get a great chance. Pretty much a 2-on-1. The puck looks like it leaks past Demko, and Tatar pokes it in for the game-winning goal in OT, getting his 20th on the season, 4-3. And we take an eventful win over the Vancouver Canucks. What a game. What an effort. A lot of things going on, and it was just, again, good to see the reinforcement of that. We can play and beat against the best teams. We just have to make it to the playoffs. Go and move on to the next game. Alright, coming back for Game 2 against the Winnipeg Jets. Let's see if we can continue our luck from the first game against Vancouver. We got Moldova in net for this one, as it is a back-to-back, so I am a little nervous. But let's see if we can pull through. Within the first 5 minutes, we exchange big hits. It's one of our guys that throws a big hit, and then I think one of our guys gets hit. Looks like he got hit pretty hard. 5 minutes later, Paul had enough of the tie game, and he continues the momentum from the Vancouver game by getting his 12th on the season, shooting it right past Hellebuck. As it leaks past him, he can't get all of it, he can't corral it, and it's in for the first of the game. Another 5 minutes goes by as Hellebuck gets a point-blank save, keeping the deficit only to 1 for Winnipeg. And that's it for the first period. A lot of energy, a lot of passion. I can sense the willingness for the guys. I don't sense the laziness that I usually sense when We played some of the earlier games in the previous episode. Minute and a half into the second period, Moldova with a good save, keeping the game where it's at. And then about 6 minutes later, Hellebuck with a save. Great chance for us, but he ends up stopping us. Then a couple minutes later, Justin Bailey getting a rebound goal. 11th on the season, 2-0 in favor of us. It's looking really good for us. We're playing very, very hard, and you love to see it. Then a minute later, great forecheck by the fourth line. I mean, these guys are putting in the work, and they did not go unrewarded as Thomas Yurko finds the back of the net after, again, a great forecheck by the fourth line. 5th on the season, 3rd of the game. We got a 3-0 advantage, and I'm feeling really, really good. Again, just watching them play, they have a lot of energy, just playing really, really hard, really, really well. Couple minutes later, Hellebuck with another good save, another good chance for us. We're just, again, putting on that pressure, very controlling in the first 40 minutes. And then down to the last 6 minutes or so, Nyquist with a good move. The windmill deke past the defender over to JB, who puts it in for his 15th goal of the season, making it 4-0. Before we head into the third period, it's looking really, really good. We're playing really, really well. Moldova's making a couple of good saves throughout the periods, and I'm feeling really, really good going into the third. Starting off the third period, a few minutes in, Moldova with a couple of good saves, keeping the puck out of the net. And then about 5 minutes later, my dad's critter character gets hit, but it's all part of the game. Then a couple minutes later, Paul gets hit and loses the puck, which ends in a breakaway for the Winnipeg Jets. And they don't end up missing. 4-1 now the score is, but I'm still feeling pretty good. Less than 10 minutes to go. And then skipping down to the last 30 seconds, the game went really, really quickly. I mean, it was a lot of neutral zone battles or easy shots that got corralled easily. And it was a pretty fast game. And as soon as we got into the third period and things started getting underway, I could see that my team was very in control. And we come through with another win against an NHL team. 4-1 against the Jets. Let's see if we can continue our streak against the next team. Alright guys, back at it for Game 3 against LA, coming off 2 big wins with Vancouver and Winnipeg. Let's see if we can carry that momentum into Game 3. First 10 minutes or so, nothing's really going on. There is a small little glitch that's happening. Someone gets stuck about 9 minutes into the game, into the offensive zone. But yeah, it was weird to see that. It caused a little bit of an issue for a little bit, but after the puck was stopped, it got resolved. Moving on to down to the last 5 minutes. Again, very slow period in the first period against LA. Nothing's really going on. Kind of defensive. A couple good saves. Nothing really too big. And we're not getting that many good chances so far. A couple minutes later, Viata with another good save. Followed by a few seconds later, another one-time save from Viata. So just a good period for Viata. It keeps the puck out of the net for LA. And then closing it off in the last minute, Bernier with a good save, keeping the score 0-0. Alright, moving into the second period, nothing's going on until about 2.5 minutes in. Glenn Denny with a shorthanded goal, getting his 4th on the season, making it 1-0 in favor of us. I believe it's the first shorthanded goal for the team, and we're looking pretty good to start off the second period. Moving on to a couple minutes later, we've got my dad's critter character getting hit pretty hard, and he shakes it off and keeps moving. A couple minutes later, LA gets a really good play. It's unfortunate the way it went. It was nothing we can do about it. They end up putting it behind Bernier, tying the game at 1-1. Not much we can do there. Good goal from them. Let's see if we can break it and get a W. 3 minutes later, another big hit for LA, and then skipping down to the last 2 minutes or so, Viata with another good save, keeping the game tied. We're going into the third, tied 1-1. A few minutes into the third period, LA does not hold back. They get another goal, making it 2-1 in favor of them. A few minutes later, Viata with another huge one-time save. This guy is saving their ass right now. Lots of good saves from him. And he followed it up with another one right here, keeping the game in their favor. Down to the last 10 minutes or so, Bernier with a one-time save, keeping the game only to a 1-goal deficit. And then a couple minutes later, Yurko gets hit pretty hard, knocking him down. And then we're going to skip down to the last minute or so because nothing's really happening. And LA gets another goal with the empty netter and pretty much wraps up the game 3-1. So it was a pretty interesting game. We didn't get the win, but we played, I think we played decently well. It was a weird kind of game, very slow. We didn't allow a lot of chances. We didn't get a lot of chances. LA had a couple of good ones that they cashed in on, and that was pretty much it. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a game. I thought it was a decently played game, but you can't win them all. LA takes the win over us this time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Alright, coming back for Game 4 against the Calgary Flames. Let's see if we can get another dub here. We're doing not too bad so far on this episode. 2 wins, 1 loss against LA in the last game, but let's see if we can pick up another one here. We've been playing pretty good. Let's see if that continues in the game. About 2 minutes into the game, Markstrom with a good save to keep the game where it's at. Then a couple minutes later, us with a big hit on the play. Again, getting that momentum going. And a couple minutes later after that, Bernier with a good glove save, showing his enthusiasm, showing that he's not going down without a fight. And then about 30 seconds later, Arturo with a big hit for our team as well. Playing pretty rough out in the first few minutes. I like the way we've been playing. Very energetic, passionate. It's kind of carrying over from the last few games. See, 7 minutes later, Justin Bailey gets rocked. And he gets knocked down pretty hard, but he ends up being okay. 30 seconds later, Calgary with another big hit on one of our guys. You know, Calgary's coming out pretty physical. They've been hitting us pretty hard this first period, and 30 seconds later after that one, they hit another person, Luke Glendening, who actually gets hurt. My dad's creative character actually steps in for him, fights Kevin Rooney, and he ends up taking a win over him. But Glendening actually gets hurt, and he does not come back for the remainder of the game, so we'll see what happened to him. Moving on to the second period, nothing's really going on the first 5 minutes or so until about 7 minutes in. We've got Calgary with a goal. It was a pretty good play on the power play. They blast one past Bernier with a give and go play. It was a good play. Can't fault the defense really on that one. We were playing pretty well up until that point. 5 minutes later, Dad with another big hit on one of their players, which results in a fight. I think it was a minor injury. I think the player was slow to get up, and Kevin Rooney comes in again to fight him once again, and Dad again takes the belt against Kevin Rooney, beating him twice in one game, and the momentum definitely shifts in our favor. About a minute and a half later, Jacob Markstrom with a great save again. Markstrom's been playing pretty good. They're physical, and Markstrom's really playing well. And then a minute and a half later, Arturo finds the way to get to the back of the net, uses the momentum, second on the season. What a move. He's not a goal scorer, but he finds it and puts it in the back of the net to tie the game at 1. Skipping down to the last 2.5 minutes, Jonathan Bernier with a good save to keep the game tied. And we're going into the third all tied up. 2.5 minutes into the third period, Markstrom with a good save, keeping the game where it's at. And then again, 2 minutes later, Markstrom is their MVP for the game with another couple good saves. But a minute and a half later, Bernier retaliates with his own good one-timer save. But unfortunately, 3 minutes later, Calgary ends up getting a goal, putting one behind Bernier. They had some good pressure on us, and they end up getting one. And the score now is 2-1. 30 seconds later, Bernier with another good save. Couple minutes later, Calgary with another big hit, but we draw a penalty. So we get a penalty drawn from the elbow. At this point in the game, the Calgary Flames are actually out-hitting us, which is rare to see. On the power play, Markstrom, I mean, he just has a highlight reel of save. And then another 30 seconds goes by. Wow, Markstrom once again standing on his head, keeping the puck out of the net. And he's honestly the reason why that the Calgary Flames are ahead. A couple minutes go by, Calgary ends up taking advantage of Markstrom's outstanding play, and they end up putting one behind Bernier, who was unfortunately unable to get the puck. And then about a few seconds later, they score once again, and it just looks like the team's giving up at this point. It looks like we're just kind of done. We've been beaten, and unfortunately, that's the moral of the game. As we skip down to the last 30 seconds or so, Calgary finds another goal, getting the 5th of the game, and making the final score 5-1. Now, up until that last 5 minutes of the third period, I thought we played pretty well. I thought it was a pretty good game for us. We played pretty well. We could not get past Markstrom. He definitely was their savior for the game and the reason that they win. But I can't complain too much about it. I don't like the fact that we gave up towards the end. It's it's demoralizing not being able to get past Markstrom. But yeah. The score really reflects that we got beat down, but I don't think it was that bad of a beatdown. I thought we played pretty well. Let's see if we can carry this on in the remainder of the games and pick up a couple more wins. All right, Game 5 against the San Jose Sharks. Currently in this episode, we're 2-2, so I'm feeling pretty good about it so far. We're going against 9 different NHL teams, and we've already beaten 2 of them. I'm feeling pretty good. Let's go ahead and get into it. Just like the last game, a slow start. Nothing's really happening until we jump down to about 12 minutes to go with Reimer with a great save, keeping the game tied at 0. Dropping down to the last 4 minutes or so, Bernier with a really good save as well. And then skipping down to the last few seconds or so, we get a great chance as Cody Eakin finds the back of the net, getting his 10th on the season, first of the game. What a play, what a great setup. Looking really good, closing out the first period, looking really strong. And we're going into the second up 1-0. Jumping into the second period, 30 seconds in, Bernier with a really great save to start us off, keeping that momentum going. And then to piggyback off of that, a few seconds later, Cassian with his 13th on this season, making it 2-0, and we're looking really good. But it doesn't stop there, as a few minutes later, Thomas Tatar with his 21st on the season, 3-0. What a good shot, what a good play, and we're looking very solid to start off this game. About 5 minutes later, Reimer with another beautiful, great, what a save. What a one-time great glove save. keeping the game where it's at. We're still up 3-0. I'm feeling really good. We have a lot of good momentum, a lot of good pressure. But Reimer with a beautiful save, keeping the game where it's at. Jumping down to the last 6 minutes or so, Bernier with 2 great saves, keeping the shutout going. But unfortunately, he can only do so much, as a minute later, San Jose ends up putting one behind Bernier. I thought he had it, but it just squeaked by him, leaked in, and they end up getting one on the board. And then, similar to us in the first period, we're jumping down to the last few seconds. San Jose gets a power play goal. The penalties have definitely been an Achilles heel for us, definitely the downfall of our team. But they end up cashing in on a power play, closing the gap 3-2 as we go into the third period. Hopefully we don't let them come back, because we've got a really good start to this game, a really good chance to bring home a W. Let's see if we can hold on to it. Jumping into the third period, skipping down to the last 12.5 minutes, big hit for us. And a big save by Bernier, keeping the game in our favor. About a minute later, Bernier with a couple of good crazy saves as San Jose is really starting to put the pressure on. And it gets so bad that they end up drawing a penalty. We're going back on the penalty kill. This is what I'm talking about. It kills us with these penalties, man. But we end up killing the penalty. We end up doing pretty well on the penalty kill. My dad's critic character comes right out the box, hits somebody, elbows them, and then gets sent right back to the box. So right back on the penalty kill after we successfully killed the penalty. Let's see if we can hold them off. Anyway, about 30 seconds into the penalty kill, Bernier gets tested out really quickly, standing on his head with a couple of crazy saves. I mean, it's looking really, really bad as they continue to put on the pressure. But unfortunately, with all the effort that Bernier has given, he is unable to hold off the San Jose Sharks as they find a way to put one in the back of the net. Another goal that leaks in, tying the game at 3-3. About 7.5 minutes to go. Then for the remainder of the period, nothing really goes on. The game gets tied at 3, and we're going into OT. And skipping down to the last couple minutes of OT, Reimer with a great save, followed by Bernier with a good save of his own. And then San Jose ends up getting their goal because of this weird glitch that's going on. I don't know what's going on. For some reason, the game is switching my PK and my extra lines. So my wingers get switched to my center. So now they're taking the face-offs when I need my centers to take the face-offs the most. And, San Jose ends up taking advantage of it and scoring a goal in OT. I don't know if they're going to fix that. Hopefully, somehow they fix that, because it's really making me uneasy with these games, because anytime we go to OT now, it's my wingers taking the face-off versus my center. So hopefully they fix that. If not, then we're just gonna have to hope for the best. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Got a few more to play. We're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. We just gotta hold on to leads that we get, and we'll be looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Alright, moving on to Game 6 versus the New York Rangers. Luke Glendening has returned. He was injured in Game 5. Or he got injured in Game 4 and missed Game 5. So he's back for Game 6. And we have Moldova, the backup in net. Let's see how this game goes. Within the first couple minutes, Shesterkin with a good save, keeping the game where it's at. Followed by Moldova a few minutes later with a one-time save on his own. Let's skip it down to the last 9 minutes. Another good one-time save from Moldova. Wow, he's playing really well right out the gate. He's playing really well, looking really solid, and that's pretty much it. The first period was very slow, a couple of good saves, and we're moving on to the second. Second period starts off about a minute and a half into it. Moldova with another good save, just wow, looking really, really good. Then about a minute later, Shesterkin with a good save as well. At this point, it's just a goaltending show. Goalies are doing very, very well, and at this point in the game, it's an interesting effort from us. We're not doing like too good, but we're not doing like too bad either. It's very neutral. We're doing very neutral right now. Skipping down to about 16 minutes left. Shesterkin with another big save off a one-timer, keeping the game where it's at. And then finally, Arturo with a big hit a minute later, getting going. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of big hits up until now. We haven't been very physical up until this point, and it's good to see that we're starting to get that going. Skipping down to the last 6.5 minutes, Moldova with a great save on a breakaway, and that's pretty much going to wrap up the first two periods. Moldova's playing pretty well for a backup. I mean, he's like a 75 overall, and he's holding off the Rangers pretty well here. I'm liking the way he's doing. Let's see what he does in the third period. Within the first few minutes, Moldova getting tested once again. Great glove save. Again, just doing really well, standing his ground. And then a couple minutes later, they come back to test him once again with another one-timer that he gets and keeps it out of the net. Looking really, really good. Then a few seconds later, my dad's critic character with a huge hit, followed by another one a couple minutes later. And then we're just going to skip down to the last minute because, again, it's a great effort that's going up to this point. Nothing's really been going on. Moldova's been killing it. I had a feeling eventually they would get a good chance and score on it, and they did within the last minute. But we didn't get a lot of good scoring chances. It was a good game. We just couldn't find a way to get some good chances, and that's pretty much the game. We lost to them only by 1. If we found a way to get a puck in net or a couple, I think we would have won the game pretty well. Moldova did really, really good, and we only lost by 1. I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was played pretty well, and I can't complain. I can't complain too much about the way we played that game. Alright, coming back for Game 7 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That last game put us on a 4-game losing streak. Let's see if we can break it here. The NHL teams are definitely no joke. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Within the first few minutes, Merzlikins makes a great rebound save, as I thought for sure we were going to score a goal. But somehow he's able to corral himself and get back to where he needed to be, and he stops the puck pretty well, and the game is still tied at 0. 5 minutes later, Columbus with a big hit on one of our players, and then about a minute later, Paul gets a breakaway and does not miss on it, getting his 13th on the season. An extremely good pass from my dad's creative character up the middle and giving Paul an opportunity to put the goal behind the net. 5 minutes later, Bernier with a good glove save of his own, a blast from the point that gets stopped by him. Moving into the second period, a few minutes in, Tatar gets a great chance. Good pass from Cassian, an extremely good setup to get this goal. He gets his 22nd on the season, putting us up 2-0, and we're looking pretty good. About 30 seconds later, a good hit from one of our guys, and then unfortunately dropping down to about 9.5 minutes, Columbus takes advantage of a bad pass, gets the takeaway, gets a good opportunity, and puts it behind Bernier, making it 2-1. I'm telling you, penalties and then like us in our own zone kills us. We cannot like pass it out of our zone. We don't know what to do sometimes. Then about a minute later, Bernier with another good save as the defense is just looking really weak. I don't know what's going on. Columbus ends up taking advantage of that a few minutes later, and they just score another goal because the defense just doesn't look like they're really trying that much. It is now all tied up at 2. And then about a minute later, Columbus just keeps it pouring on, and they put another one behind Bernier, and at this point, I'm not really surprised about them scoring again. We don't have any energy. It's all gone. So Columbus takes the lead at 3-2, and they finish off the period with a big hit, and we're going into the third down by 1. So yeah, let's see if we can, I don't know, do something. Anyway, moving on to the third period, a couple minutes in, almost a really good chance as Merzlikins makes a bad play. A couple minutes later, Bernier with a good one-time save, keeping the game where it's at. And then in another 5 minutes or so, Bernier with another great one-time save. Then skipping down to the last couple minutes, Paul dishes out a big hit that is a penalty, and during the face-off, I can tell the glitch is back because my winger is taking the face-off instead of my center. So I gotta figure out a way to address this problem until they hopefully patch it. Skipping down to the last 3.5 minutes, Arturo with a big hit, trying to get some momentum going. Then about a minute later, Merzlikins with a good save as we try to put one behind him. And then skipping down to the last 30 seconds or so, Merzlikins with another good save, keeping the game in favor of them, and they end up taking home a W 3-2. It was looking good. We played good in the first and the third period. The second period, we kind of just fell apart. I don't know what happened, but we did well in the first period and like the start of the second. Then it fell apart, and then when we tried to come back in the third, we just couldn't find a way to capitalize. So we end up falling to Columbus. Our losing streak is extended to 5 games now. We got 2 more games left. Let's see if we can pick up something before the end of this episode. If not, I mean, the NHL teams are definitely no joke. Let's go and move on to the last couple games, and then that'll be it for the episode. Alright, moving on to Game 8 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, on paper and in the game right now, they're doing really, really well. I think they're at the top of the division. They've got crazy overall players, and I don't expect a win here, but let's see if we can at least get something. Maybe a point. Pushing them to OT would be alright with me. Let's see what we can do here. A few minutes into the third period, Sam gets tested with a good shot, and he ends up saving it pretty well. Then a few seconds later, Toronto with a big hit on one of our guys. Then skipping down to the last 10.5 minutes, Paul hits the post, so it's looking pretty good. We're getting good chances. We're just not able to capitalize on it, so I'm feeling alright. I'm feeling good so far. Skipping down to the last 4.5 minutes, we finally get an opportunity as Thomas Yurko finds his 6th on the season, putting one behind Samsonov, and we're doing pretty good. Great pressure up until this point. Can we keep it is the big question. We're going into the second up 1-0. About 6 minutes into the second period, we got a big hit on John Tavares. We'd love to see that. About 6 minutes later, Toronto returns a favor on one of our guys as they dish out one of their own big hits. About a minute later, Samsonov with a good save. It's a slow period so far. Nothing's really happened. The period's actually flying by pretty fast. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the second period. It was a really... All right, going into the third period, again, very slow, defensive kind of, game going on. Nothing's really happening. I'm skipping all the way down to the last 3 minutes because nothing's really happening. We're playing good. We're keeping it out of our net. Bernier is making good saves. We're getting good chances. We can't find a way to put it past Samsonov. Down to the last 3 minutes, Toronto ends up finding a goal. I kind of knew it was going to happen just the way they were playing, the way it was going. They find a way to put it behind Bernier, and they end up tying the game with about 3 minutes to go. At this point, all I want to do is push it to OT, secure at least a point against these guys, and I'll be happy with that. Then about a minute later, Samsonov with a good save, keeping the game where it's at, and we push it to OT, and I get the point that I wanted. So I got the point. That's all I needed. Toronto's a really good team. Let's see if we can get something out of OT. If not, hey, we played. It was an interesting game. Jumping into OT, I realized that the glitch is still messing with us. I still have my wingers taking the face off instead of my sensors, so I'm not really sure how to fix that. I'm gonna tinker with it before the next couple games, see if I can somehow fix it on my own, but they just keep messing with us. A couple minutes into OT, Zaroni ends up finding the back of the net, and we end up getting a goal, even though we're pretty much being fucked with because my centers are not on my they're not playing center, but we end up finding a way to get the goal and getting the win over Toronto, breaking the 5-game losing streak, getting a win over a good team, and again proving that we're able to play against this team even with the Lions being fucked with. So we got one game left to play against I think Ottawa, and then we'll see what we can do about this whole glitching thing. Let's go ahead and move on to the last game. Alright, last game of the episode, we're going against the Ottawa Senators. We just got over a pretty big win over Toronto. Let's see if we can carry that into this game. Game starts off pretty rough. Like the first 2.5 minutes, these guys come out flying. Like Bernier was on his head for the first 2.5 minutes. Ottawa really kept it in our zone. We tried to get it out. They took it away. They shot it again. It's just them coming out the gate, I kind of had a feeling that this is not going to be a pretty good game. We'll see what happens, but I mean, they were coming out flying in the first 2.5 minutes. I'm like, what is happening? Skipping down to around the 15-minute mark, Ottawa with a big hit on one of our guys, a huge hit on one of our dudes, and then a few minutes later, we return the favor on one of their guys, and then skipping down to the last 7 minutes, Bernier with a couple of good saves. He's saving our ass right now because it's not that we're not playing good, it's just that they're just flying. They're on a different level of energy right now. I'm like, what is happening? A couple minutes later, Cam Talbot with a good glove save, keeping the game tied at 0, and then about a minute later, my dad's creative character with a big hit on Claude Giroux, trying to get some momentum going, but unfortunately it doesn't do much. As about a minute and a half later, Ottawa scores a goal as Novak is just staring at the guy. He could have poke checked, he could have done something. Bernier could only do so much as they put one behind him, and it's 1-0 in favor of Ottawa. Then about a few seconds left to go in the period, Ottawa gets another great chance with a breakaway as Bernier saves our asses again, and we're going into the second period only down by 1. I don't have a good feeling about this game right now. Their energy is on a different level. We can't even get a really good shot on net with them because they just bully us into taking the puck away. So it's very interesting how the game's playing so far. I'm not having that great of a feeling. Let's see if the second period brings us different luck. About 2 minutes into the second period, Bernier with a good glove save, keeping it where it's at. And then about a few seconds later, we get a big hit. I believe it was Tatar with a big hit. Don't see that very often. And he knocks down one of the Ottawa players. Then about 5 minutes later, JB's taking the puck up the neutral zone as he gets demolished into the boards. Then about 6 minutes later, there's an unfortunate breakaway as Bernier gets a good save. We were caught on a change, and they passed up the middle. The guy stays with them, so I can't fault defense too much on it. Bernier makes a really good save, keeping it where it's at. But unfortunately, about 10 seconds later, Ottawa scores, and Bernier's doing well. He's doing well for what's happening right now. Nothing really happens for the rest of the period, and the shot difference is like 25 to 10. They've got like 25 shots already on Bernier, and he's been doing pretty well. So I can't fault Bernier. We can't get any really good shots on Talbot. The first 2 periods have been pretty rough for us. Let's see if we can do something in the third. It's been rough. Within the first 5 minutes, nothing's really going on until we finally get a couple of good shots on Talbot, who makes both of the saves really well. And then skipping down to the last 7 minutes or so, Ottawa with a huge hit and Talbot making another good save. And then Talbot's going to wrap up the game with another good save, and that's going to be it. He gets the shutout. It's 2-0, and that's pretty much going to wrap up the episode. We got 3 wins. We beat Vancouver, Winnipeg, and Toronto. So out of the 9 games, we got 3 wins. wins. You know, it's not the best, but it's against 9 teams that are really, really good compared to the team that I currently have. So I can't complain too much about it. I thought the way we played in some of the games was pretty good. Let's go ahead and wrap up the video, and then that'll be it. All right, guys, back in the menu here. 45 games in. Thomas Tatar's almost got 40 points. We're at a 22, 18, and 5 record. Let's take a look at who we're going against next in the next 9 games. See if we get a little bit better luck. We shouldn't be playing that many NHL teams. We got Milwaukee coming up next, Reno, Ottawa again, more creative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, within the next 9 games, we got Ottawa and Buffalo, so 2 NHL teams, pretty tough. Milwaukee and Brooklyn has caused problems for us, so we'll see what happens with Milwaukee, because they've already beaten us twice in the last 3 games that we played them, so they've got the advantage over us. Hopefully we should be beating these guys, man. God damn it. All right, anyway, Brooklyn beat us once as well. We should be able to take them down pretty easily. We'll see what happens. Hopefully get some easy points and stuff like that. Let's see where we're at. I think we're at like 30th or 31st from that last game. Let's see where 18th is at. Because if we can just get to 18th, it would be nice to get to 14th so I don't have to, like, we don't have to do the round robin thing or the wild card round. But 18th is at 56 points. Okay. 56 points. Let's see where... Okay, so we're still at 30. We're at 49. We're down by 7 points. So we win 3 games, 4 games, right? That puts us in the 18th spot if, you know, granted they lose and all that stuff. But we're not too far away. It's not like we're dead last. We're you know, scraping by. We've got a chance. We've just got to really take advantage of the teams that we play against. And I just hope that the glitch doesn't mess with us, because that glitch is really throwing me off, right? I have Tatar taking face-offs when he's a left-wing, right-winger, when Zeroni should be the one taking the face-offs. So, hopefully they fix that. If not, we'll just have to deal with it. But Tatar's almost got 40 points, Zeroni with 34, Castian's over 30 points. I mean, we're looking pretty good here. Team's looking pretty good. I expect some good growth from all the players, except for the goaltenders. Yeah, goalies are looking pretty rough. But, again, it's only a 6 or 7 minute period, so, you know, if they're letting in 4 goals and, you know, they're only shooting like 20 or 25 shots a game, that's really going to ruin a save percentage. But if I put the time up, 1, it's going to take forever to record everything. I'm not doing that. And then 2, I'm pretty confident that he'll let in more goals. So instead of 4, 5 game, loss or goal loss, it would be like 10 goals, 12 goals. You know what I'm saying? Because those NHL teams, with Ottawa, they don't let up, man. Like that energy, I'm surprised Bernier was able to hold him off that much. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We'll come back, do another 9 games. We should be in the playoff around like episode 11 or 12. Because I'm doing 9. The last like season episode will be 10 games because, there's no point in just doing 9 and then just not doing the last one. Or maybe we'll sim it, maybe we'll sim it if it doesn't matter, But, yeah. That's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.